Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my May 2023 book haul. May is a fun month for me to acquire books. I went to one of my favorite book festivals of the year and got some other books in a couple other different ways. So I have a nice stack to show you, and let's get to it. The first book I want to show you is Swimming with Ghosts by Michelle Brofman, which I talked about in my latest mock reads video, because this is one of the books that is a front list book that I want to read this year. In fact, it's not out yet. It's coming out on June 13th. And I was graciously contacted by the author's representative because she saw my first mock reads video of the year where I talked about literary general fiction titles I wanted to read, and this was on it, so she offered me a copy. So I definitely am planning to get to this in June. I'm very excited, hoping to have it finished sometime around publication day. And I even have a press release from the publisher. Huzzah! I get to, pretend that I'm a far more vaulted reviewer in this case, or something like that. So anyway, here's what it says. From the acclaimed author of Washing the Dead and Bertrand Court comes a satirical and chilling, yet deeply sensitive tale that captures the ethos and ruin of children's competitive swimming, where parents must face the haunting spirits of their own tumultuous upbringings or risk losing their way forward, and, in turn, themselves. Swimming with Ghosts, a novel by Michelle Brofman. Each summer, tens of thousands of young swimmers across the country flock to their community pools to compete in high-adrenaline, low-stakes leagues. These compressed seasons foster an intimacy among the parents who operate the meets and can also serve as the perfect catalyst for their old demons to crop up. As a former swim mom and competitive swimmer herself, Michelle Brofman couldn't resist the tug of a story about the joy and emotional intensity tethered to a fictitious DC area swim league. When setting out to write her latest novel, Swimming with Ghosts, that's coming out June 13th, Brofman says she wanted to write a fun summer novel and also conjure a way to free parents, and maybe herself too, from the ghosts that can materialize at any kid-related arena, be it a pool, hockey rink, or soccerplex. Swimming with Ghosts is set in June 2012. The magical and slightly cultish River Run Swim Club is alive with the spirit of fun competition when a perfect storm brews between teen moms and best friends, Jillian Cloud and Christy Weinstein. The ghost of family addiction has turned up, forcing them to face their unresolved childhood trauma. Real sparks fly on the night of the Derecho, a freak land hurricane, which sweeps through northern Virginia, knocking out power for days. The storm ignites a tinderbox of secrets, leaving Jillian and Christy alone in the hot dark. Shame, their only company. Okay, here we go. At times humorous and devastating, Swimming with Ghosts is a hauntingly dark yet uniquely tender story of addiction and lingering trauma. It is about what it takes to overcome our hidden legacies of disgrace and discover a once unimaginable freedom made possible by confronting life's greatest storms with the people closest to us. With shades of Rick Moody's The Ice Storm and Leon Moriarty's Big Little Lies, the characters in Swimming with Ghosts are certain to immerse readers in their world. And then we go on to a bio of the author and early praise and topics Michelle Brofman can discuss, I guess, with like book group sort of things, and a Q&A with the author. This is really involved. And yeah, I'm very excited. One thing I feel like I wasn't exactly talked about in this press release, but I'm curious about is the impact on the children. Because really this is all about the adults, confronting their demons, and I mean, it seems realistic to the setting. Like when you get into competitive children's events, suddenly it's not about the children's events at all. It's about the adults reliving something. But what's the effect on children, and what do they really want to do? What is it to be a kid and have fun swimming versus turning it into this, competition? I don't know if that'll come in. I mean, obviously the adults are going to be the main characters, but hoping for good things with the kids too. And yeah, I'll be reporting back on this book soon. Another book I should be reporting back on soon is this one. This is Of Noble Origins by Sahar Khalifa. And I am reading it next month for my Synagogue's Israel-Palestine book club. I mean, we're predominantly reading about Israel. We're predominantly reading nonfiction. But we are now at the end of the year getting to a Palestinian author, and the only way I could find this book is ordering it through Barnes & Noble, alas. But I'm very excited to have it in my hands, and I'll be reading it pretty early in the month so that I can be ready for our book club, which is also meeting sometime in the middle of the month. And yeah, so you will see this book again shortly. And the rest of this, frankly, is from my trip to the Gaithersburg Book Festival a couple weeks ago. I made a video about it, which I'll link down below, and of course I got a handful of books, including a couple for my niece and nephew, which they have now, so probably won't ramble too much into that territory, but I got a few books for myself as well. Every year, I try to go to the festival sponsor, Politics and Prose, and pick up one book by a presenting author who will then be signing. And this year, I went with Bookish People by Susan Cole. I also have like a little bit of the author's panel on my other video. Yeah, I went ahead and it is signed. And here's the BookFest bookmark. And anyway, to get to the book, this book is generally, I think, lighter fare in a way. It revolves around a bookstore, a fictional DC bookstore, and we're following the owner of the bookstore, and she actually is going through a bit of trouble. This is set around the Charlottesville White Supremacy March, and that has a major effect on this character who just sort of wants to retreat from the world and how, you know, violent and cruel it's gotten, that sort of thing. But meanwhile, of course, life marches on. She has a store to run. She has a malfunctioning vacuum cleaner. And there is this poet who she wants to host in her store, but he's kind of persona non grata, and there's a lot of concern that, you know, people might protest his reading. And, you know, after Charlottesville and what happened there, I guess it, you know, triggers her even more. But we follow this woman and members of her store and see it through to its conclusion. And it really, from my understanding, or maybe just this cover, which might be a little too bright and yellow, but I do think it's going to be a little lighter in fare than my usual, like, down and serious literary fiction. I think this is supposed to be a little lighter in tone, which is, I suppose, why they went for this more cartoonish cover. We shall see. Not sure when I'll get to this, because there is so much to read, but I am looking forward to it. And my final bookish excursion at the Gaithersburg Book Festival is to go to my friends of the library used book sale, where they set up on some of those big picnic tables under some shade, and we all swarm in looking at the boxes of books that are continuously filing out. It's a lot of fun. And I go ahead and I look for books that are already on my TBR. It's a bit of a scavenger hunt, and I was able to find 2 this year. So anyway, another reason I love going to the used book sale is because it's kind of a monster that feeds on itself, and every year at Gaithersburg, if I buy books at the used book sale, I get a coupon like this one. This, you know, gets me a free book at one of the stores for the used book sale that's in a couple of our libraries. So this is what I am intending to do in June for my book haul, is to go and scour one of those stores, which I'll probably find a handful of other books on my TBR and get a little money off, so that's kind of fun. And here is the latest bookmark for my used library book sale. But anyway, getting to the actual books, the first one I have to share with you is The Family Chow by Lan Samantha Chang. And this, I'm sure this author was featured on one of the podcasts I listened to, although it's been a while, I'm not sure which one. In fact, I'm way behind on listening to my podcasts, largely because I spend a lot of my listening time listening to audiobooks lately. But anyway, this one was on the list, and I found it late in the day, so I was really excited. It is a family drama, which is what I tend to be drawn to in literary fiction. And this one, I believe, centers around a Chinese-American family operating a Chinese restaurant in Wisconsin. The next book I found there that's on my TBR, this has been on for a couple of years at least by now, is The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Stradal. In fact, I think I featured it on one of my TBR games in recent months. And yeah, similarly, this is also family drama. This one is about sisters on a farm. I think this is also, well, obviously, I would assume, US-centric, Minnesota-centric, and maybe something to do with brewing for lager. I'll have to read to find out. And my final indulgence that I really maybe shouldn't have gotten or anything, I don't actually officially have it on my TBR, but I saw it and I remember that it piqued my interest a little, and it is Kaddish.com by Nathan Eglander. I'm a little up and down with Nathan Eglander as a writer, I think, but certainly this title intrigued me when I first heard about it on the Jewish Book Council website, and it is about taking a Jewish ritual of mourning a loved one after their passing and, well, turning it into something digital, which I guess is appropriate for our times. It's about how I think unaffiliated Jews are trying to connect in their way. Maybe for this one I will read from the flap. The celebrated Pulitzer finalist and prize-winning author of Dinner at the Center of the Earth and What We Talk About When We Talk About Anne Frank delivers his best work yet, a streamlined comic masterpiece about a son's failure to say Kaddish for his father. Larry is the secular son in a family of Orthodox Brooklyn Jews. When his father dies, it's his responsibility to recite the Kaddish, the Jewish prayer for the dead, every day for 11 months. To the horror and dismay of his sister, Larry refuses, imperiling the fate of his father's soul. To appease her, Larry hatches an ingenious, if cynical plan, hiring a stranger through a website called Kaddish.com to recite the prayer and shepherd his father's soul safely to rest. Sharp, irreverent, hilarious, and wholly irresistible, Eglander's tale of a son who makes a diabolical compromise brilliantly captures the tensions between tradition and modernity. A book to be devoured in a single sitting, and whose pleasures and provocations will be savored long after. So yeah, I think this is going to be kind of satirical, and it's a pretty short novel, and a fun look at these tensions. I gotta say, to the Orthodox community, maybe one easy way out of this conundrum would be allowing the sister to say Kaddish. She could take on the family mantle for her father. Just saying. And I'm sure, actually, you know, Orthodoxy is not a monolith, and there is some diversity when it comes to how women and others participate in those various communities. But of course, that's what immediately jumped out to me here. The easy out for this. She could do it. But okay, fine. We're going to go into this instead. And it should be interesting and fun. And that about covers it for me now. I will leave the Goodreads links for all of these books listed down below. And now we are officially exiting May. This is the last day that I can be posting a video, granted if I actually get it out on May 31st, and then we are moving into June. I actually think I will be taking at least a couple days off of videoing, in large part because I hope to cram in a lot of reading, which may or may not be possible. And then my next video I should be back here is for the BookTube prize, because in the next couple of days Robert is going to be announcing who won the quarterfinals. I finally submitted my ballot, and I can finally then talk about the books that I've been reading for the BookTube prize these past 2 months. So stay tuned for that. I know I'm really excited. I'm always excited when a round ends and to see what will advance and to finally hear what the judges have to say. So yeah, anyway, lots of fun stuff to be watching ahead on BookTube as well as we round into June. I hope you are all excited for your reading and your booktubing as we reach the midpoint of the year, as you do. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. And I'll see you next time.